Hi, my name is Sarah Maggard. I actually teach 6, 7, and 8 math and science at Arley Boggs Elementary. This project mainly focuses on my 8th grade students. If you teach 8th grade math or heard anything about 8th grade math, it is a lot of linear equations, a lot of graphing. So it's really boring, graph the y-intercept, now graph the slope, now, connect your points. But I wanted to try to make it fun with my students, so I am purchasing a embroidery and sewing machine. And we started out with my students after this last unit. I said, okay, write down 5 linear equations. And so I gave them one coordinate grid. They had to graph those lines. And it was really interesting because then they were like, well, they're really, really close together. And I'm like, okay, well, then how can you change that? And they're like, well, I can change the slope. And I'm like, okay. So it was really cool watching them graph these. They were like, well, they're all going the same direction. I'm like, okay, how can you change that? So it was going back and forth. I do have some examples up here. And I was like, okay, we're going to make a quilting square from this. And then they were like, this is really going to be hard to sew all this together. So we are going to change it around, and they're going to actually design their own quilting square and then try to find the equations of the lines that they draw afterwards. I also connect this with social studies. I'm not a social studies person whatsoever, but I do know that during the Underground Railroad, they communicated through quilts and different designs and all that stuff as to if they have food or shelter or medical equipment, and so that's how I connected it with that as well. Also with the embroidery machine in 8th grade math, we do dilations and enlargements, and so I'm going to use the embroidery to model that with the reflections and the rotations and all that. So just trying to make it fun for the students and connect it with different standards and make it real life. Does anybody have any questions? That was really fast, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's actually my plan, is for each student to make their own quilting piece and then bring it together and make a big, huge quilt for them.
So are you going to hang the quilt up in the classroom, or are you going to have a raffle?
Well, we can't do raffles because that's gambling, so. But yeah, I probably will keep it from year to year to just show how it evolves and how they can be like, I want to do one of those, so. Yeah. I mean, the guys, actually, there's some boys' examples up here. They're pretty excited about it. I've not really had any trouble about them wanting to sew and all that stuff. I've not had any complaints yet, so we'll see how that goes. So. Yes, actually last year they did the entrepreneurial businesses through the ARI grants, and we did have a couple that did sew, and they're pretty well, they can use it really well. Yep. So, and my 8th grade class, to kind of understand making one quilt, I only have 14 8th graders in one class. So, I mean, that's in the whole middle school. We have 46 students in the whole middle school, and that's 6, 7, and 8. So, yep. So it'll be, it's not that big of as big of a task as what it would be for a school of 60 8th graders. So, but any other questions? All right. Thank you.